the agenda as presented.
Make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve the minutes of May 19th, 2025, regular meeting.
Make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approve employee claims filed with the county auditor, $450 and 36 cents.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approve the hiring of Caleb Johnson, seasonal conservation technician intern, effective May 27th, 2025, at $15 per hour.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next approve the minor plat for Chris Roberts, and Amber's here, so we'll go through this.
So the rezoning application was recommended for approval on June 5th in 2024 with the PMD, which did send place on that rezoning request. And those conditions were that there can be no more than 6 large animals, and the base flood elevation requirements are at the zoning administrator's discretion. The Board of Supervisors approved the rezoning request on July 8th, 2024, with the same conditions that I just read. To kind of notate, so the minor plat does require quite a few different things. So this does require that the owners do consent to the split of property. If there is a lender attached to the property, that they also need to sign off on it as well. So you do see the lender's consent in that packet as well. And then we have the treasurer's certificate, which states that the taxes are current and up to date. And the title opinion that is done from the attorneys. And then the plat of survey that is drafted. So we do request an aerial image for these, that way we can see the landmarks, excuse me, any structures or buildings that may be affected by the split. So in this case, as you can see from the aerial image, that the septic leach field does actually go on to the new proposed parcel. So not a concern with that, but when they do decide to sell either property, just a septic easement will need to be drafted by the attorney. And so that way, in the future, if any work that needs to be done to the septic, that they will have adequate room to access that. And then the other thing I'll note from the packet that you guys have is the resolution from the city of Jessup. So since this is located within that 2-mile radius of Jessup, that's also part of our requirement is to obtain their approval. At that time, the city does have the chance to annex it into the city. This one they did not, but they did approve the request. And then also while obtaining approval from the county, I did have the response from Brian Kyleber as far as the driveway. And that the culvert would be at the Roberts's cost, or they could shift the driveway and avoid. So that was communicated with the Robert. I haven't had a response from them yet, but again, I will communicate that with them after today and seeing how things go. That is all that I have on that. Any other questions I am happy to answer.
Questions? Do you have anything?
No, I don't.
I would entertain a motion to approve the minor plat for Chris Roberts.
I'll make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Wishes to. Next, approve the fund transfer resolution. Chris?
Okay, this is our final fund transfer for fiscal year 25, and it's the remaining funds to go to secondary roads. The amount budgeted from general fund to conservation reserve and 15,000, and then from jail room and board to the general fund for 35,000. And another budget amount from the general fund to capital projects for $106,908. So all that was budgeted. for FY 25, it just finalizes everything.
I'll make the motion to approve the funds transfer.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, place on file the following manure management plans. Silvertop LLC, Byron Township, section 29. Grassland Pork LLC, Jefferson Township, section 18. Premier Pork LLC, number 3, Fremont Township, section 13. Premier Pork LLC, number 2, Fremont Township, section 24. If I could have a motion to place those on file.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next discuss the roof leak in the auditor's office.
We gotta figure something out.
Ongoing.
Um,
Go ahead.
it has to be east wind and rain, because that's the only time it's leaking. So I am led to believe, and I'm no contractor by any means, it has to do with some tuck pointing.
Yeah.
I did run some reports, I mean, ever since 2000, well, it's been much longer than that. But 2018, we had Moss Roofing in to do an inspection and found nothing. 2024, we had somebody in, they found nothing. We had some holes repaired in 2019.
I was only at service roofing.
Yeah. They repaired in, June of 2019, they repaired some holes. But then it was September of 2024 is when we had the insurance claim. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other times that we've had people in to inspect the roof. Anywhere from $250 to $145 to over $300, and they can't find anything.
Any more thoughts on this, Brian?
The last,
There you start, where's the water coming from?
Yeah.
How's it getting in?
I think from the discussions that Clayton and I had last, we really think it's a tuck pointing issue up there. And we've been in contact with the contractor. He's extremely busy. He's to bring in a crane lift that they can go up and inspect it and repair it. And we're on the schedule for him, but he's extremely busy, and unfortunately, we're not a high enough priority right now. And I will follow up again this weekend.
well,
I
my,
just had a conversation 2 weeks ago with him.
On the issue of the bringing in the crane, we have a bucket truck out there. And
Will it reach all the way up to the crown of the building though?
I think it's got like a 45, 50-foot reach. So it goes back to how far away from the building you are. But that doesn't, yeah,
I will mention that.
but it would, still, it's best to have somebody who knows what they're looking for too.
Exactly.
Yeah, but going back to your question, if the roof's good, it's gotta be in the walls.
Seems like the logical progression.
Yeah,
Well, and we just replaced that section of roof. I don't think it's the, I think it's the tuck pointing.
or your windows. Yeah,
Didn't seem to sound like it was your windows, I guess. I mean, you would have noticed that by now.
no,
So we kind of had those conversations too.
yeah, and I was trying to think if there's windows above, it's what I was.
I mean, this has been going on for probably 20+ years. But now it's getting to the point where my concern is, am I gonna have to pull concrete because of mold?
Mm.
How much mold is up in the area where the ceiling tiles are?
What's our step? What do we need to do here? Go out and get the bid, or we still went on hold for them?
Yeah. I'll give him a call this week.
Yeah.
Okay, unless there's any more discussion, we'll review the request for the proposal audit. Thanks, Andy.
Okay. We do this every 3 years. I send out requests for proposals for our audit, our financial audit. We do a 3-year contract. So this year I sent a letter, an RFP to Anderson and Larkin out of Atumwa, Atlas Firms out of Cedar Rapids, Gardner Company out of Charles City, who is our current firm, Hagan and Callenbag out of Decorah, and the State Auditor's Office, and Hyde and Bailey out of Dubuque. I received a email back from Hyde and Bailey stating that, thanking us, but they're not interested. But they did let me know of all the other things that we could contract with them. And then the other proposal that I got was with our current firm, Gardner and Company. And for the 3-year, it was all in your packet. For the fiscal year 25, which they'll start hopefully early fall here. The cost is $44,650, and then for 2026, it increases $48,225. 2027, it increases $52,075. And yes, it's an increase from what we've had in the past, but there isn't anything we do anymore that we don't see an increase with. And they have done Buchanan County's audits for years. They're very good. When anyone has a question, to shoot them an email and they will give us guidance. So
You guys have had a lot of success working with them. They're very
Yep.
cooperative, so.
100%.
Any discussion on this, or can I get a motion to approve?
Like. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, guys.
Request the sale of roadside management pickup.
Roadside, actually, secondary roads probably helped pay for it when they bought it initially, but it's a 1999 Dodge 2500 with a super cab, 5.9 gas engine, automatic 4-wheel drive, 223,000 miles, 223,476.
It's
And
4-wheel drive, you said?
it is a 4-wheel drive. It's got a couple issues. One of which is that it can't get the spark plugs out. And rather than breaking the plugs, they let it be. And it doesn't like to start when it's wet.
Hmm.
And that, to me, that was a rotor cap. And they said, nope, they changed the rotor caps, and that's didn't solve it. Now, John, you worked around, the comment was that's typical of Dodges. But I don't know. You would know.
Unfortunately, we don't use it that much when it's raining, so that's a good thing, but.
Yeah. My thoughts on this, and this is just my thoughts, it's ideal for big iron. Because if you can't get the plugs out, you don't want it in the area. You know, in other words, sell it to a small town or something that
Yeah.
comes back.
Seems like they take a commission off of what they.
They do, it's close to 10%, but you're,
Reasonable.
hey, you know what, a pickup that's 26 years old
Yeah.
is worth, and it's not a whole lot.
Well, on a 3/4 ton, 4-wheel drive V8 pickup still is.
It has a value, yeah.
There's people that want them.
It's your guys' choice how you want to do it. The trailer would probably be, my recommendation on how we sell the trailer is gonna be different, because that's gonna be one that we list locally.
So then we'll address this one first, it seems like.
Yeah. I would entertain a motion on what we want to do with the Dodge.
Let's go ahead and list it on with big iron. Make the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
No, we've got a trailer, and I actually printed out pictures of it. It was the sign trailer before they built a new sign trailer. And it's basically a glorified snowmobile trailer. And here's pictures. Dawn, I would have emailed, but I didn't know you wouldn't be here, so it's just it's a little light tandem axle trailer. And I know, you'll see a rack on the back of it and that comes right off. That was what they were holding the signs on. And then you'll see a welded box that's actually welded onto it. And that's where they stored the sandbags. And there is some definite interest from a small town. And so now how do you do a fairway for the small towns? And my thoughts were, if the board so chose, we could send the information out to the cities and let them throw a bid on it on a certain date. And then if they want, raise their prices, or however the board chose to do it.
Just a comment.
Couldn't think of any. Yeah, it's basically a glorified snowmobile trailer, so if they're moving something light around, it's tandem axle, but it's also, it's light.
My comment would be that not only would area cities might be interested, but there are a lot of private individuals that might be interested for hauling snowmobiles or motorcycles or whatever it might be. Lawn and garden equipment possibly. I would like to see us listed publicly and see what the interest level is.
Don, I just sent you a picture of it by text message. Yep. My only concern is whether or not conservation can use it, but it's such a light trailer, I kind of doubt it as well.
And this is what I failed to ask Ben about. Yeah,
I just. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we gotta try to list everything publicly so everybody has a fair shot at it. Well, we could talk about the shop expansion. I think, Brian's gonna message.
I was gonna send him the picture quick.
Let's make a decision on the light trailer first.
He's gonna reach out to Ben, but.
Well, you could decide pending the answer from conservation that they are not interested in it,
Yeah, fair point.
advertise it for bid and set a date for accepting bids.
If we could get some good a selection of photos of it, Brian, where
Yeah, they're
we
gonna,
could make some posts both in the paper and then maybe
Yeah, they
on
can always-
Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, we will, if we choose to advertise it, once I get the bid sheet together, it'll go out on the front page of our website.
Good.
But then they can always put it on their page with photos.
That'd be good.
And I always put it on my elections Facebook page too, and if I have the photos, I can put the bid in the. I'd probably just put one photo out, and if they want more, they can contact the office.
yeah, we can get you a better photo. They'll get the rack off of there today, I was told.
So could I get a motion that we'll have Brian discuss it with County Conservation, see if they're interested? If not, then we'll proceed with a public offering.
Do you need a date on that too, or, what date would you suggest?
I would. Let's push it back to like June 30th. That'll give plenty of time to get it out there. 23rd or 30th, one or the other.
I'll make that recommendation, or that motion.
You want the 23rd or the 30th?
30th?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, now discuss the secondary road shop expansion.
We've got a full set of plans that Alex drew up, and Alex is here in case there's any significant questions on it. And basically we're adding on 16 feet. Right now you can't, when we get the snow plows in there, we have to go with the old snow plow trucks because the new ones won't fit. And so we're trying to put on 16 feet so you're able to walk around each piece of the equipment. And I would almost guess if OSHA ever caught us out there without it, that they would have had some concerns.
It's advantageous for the life of the equipment to bring it indoors and get it to melt off and clean them up. And
Yeah.
ready to go again.
You have the funds and secondary roads, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're doing the concrete work ourselves right now, so. So what we're really doing is they'll do the block work in the roof.
This is similar to the same thing that City of Independence is doing with their fire trucks because they're too big for the current fire station. They need to do in addition to accommodate them.
And even when you try and keep them the same size, it isn't working.
So Brian says he has the funds available in the secondary road budget. I guess I need a motion for him and Alex to proceed with their plan.
I'll make the motion.
Yeah, you're looking at about 75,000-80,000 for the construction on that part. Dawn, I'll have another 20,000 into my work that I'm doing right now. But to try and bond and borrow for it, the cost of going through that process is significant. And if we're really looking at bonding sometime, our road system may be where you're really doing that on. And Grundy County just bonded about 6 million for a road project, and it was when they went through the attorneys itself was pushing $100,000 for the attorney fees. So bonding is just not practical on a project of this
You got
size.
attorney fees, you got bonding agent, you have to pay, plus you have your interest that you have to look at. So it's a big decision.
Inappropriate, yeah, not necessarily it's a consideration for North of Jessup, but Alex and I are thinking we can get through that one in a couple years. So, yeah, we're trying to get outside funds to help with that. And I'm very confident on getting outside funds on the safety aspects north of Jessup. It's worked in the past.
Do you have a, overall estimated cost for this expansion? Estimated?
We're in that 75,000-80,000, but not a formal estimate, I don't think. Who I really visited with was, out of Aurora, a contractor that does this kind of work out of Aurora. Doug Lentz, thank you. I couldn't remember names.
And our county staff are capable of doing like the concrete work and all that sort of thing. You're just talking about the actual construction of the building.
Yeah, the block, the roof, yeah.
Any other discussion, Don?
No, that was, my question was answered.
I could get a motion on Brian to proceed with the shop expansion, please.
I think we did that.
Did we really? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Okay, public comment. Dick?
Name is Dick Hoffman. I live at 1339 250th Street, Independence, Iowa. Know where to start, maybe in the beginning. I moved over there in 1984. It happened to be, it was Thanksgiving weekend. I moved in there. And I don't know, I what I've seen over the years, where I live about a half a mile off of Dugan Avenue over there. But I don't know what it takes, but our grader system sucks. And I mean that literally. And we had Charlie Brown over there for a number of years until he retired. He did a good job on maintaining these secondary roads. And then he left and he inherited another guy. And what I know about secondary roads is, and irregardless of what people think, they need a crown in them. You talk to the sheriff's department, you talk to EMT guys, you talk to anybody that runs on secondary roads, they need a crown in them. So that the water runs off. If the water doesn't run off, when I mean, you guys understand what I mean about a crown, don't you?
Absolutely, yes.
If you don't have that crown in that road, that water won't run off, and then you end up with potholes and all kinds of problems. And I know my road over there, I want to say this, I don't want to get anybody in any trouble,
You're not gonna hurt anybody's.
but we happen to be about a mile and a quarter off the interstate off of over on Sheen Grove. And when the way station is open, we seem to get a lot of truck traffic down that road. Comes down there and then runs over to Dugan Avenue and runs down into Brandon, which it bypasses the way station. And that doesn't help our road at all. But this business, I don't know, I've been out there for a number of years, like I said, and it's just terrible. I mean, I don't know what to say. Talk to the people that run those roads. I was hoping the sheriff's department was gonna be here. He's gotta have some issues with these vehicles running down those roads. Along with, I don't know, the people that deliver the mail, they're out there every day delivering that mail. And, you need to talk with them, but I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to it, other than the guy that we got now. He don't know he's ass from a hole in the ground. And I mean that. Anybody that wants to sit there and tell me that the rock's gotta dry out, he's dry between the ears. This rock business, I've been out there for a number of years, but I've seen it. I've never seen him maintain a road like this guy does. Never. And the rock that's out there has been run over so many times, it's like pulverized. And I don't know, it's just terrible. I don't know. I moved out in the country and I love it out there. But this road system, it's gotta be, I don't know what to do. Or what to say. Maybe there's a class for these guys to take. I mean, it seems like it goes from good to bad or good to so good, then it just kind of gets worse and worse each time it rotates down to another grader guy. And I don't know as if everybody's got their own ideas, I guess, about grading the roads. And I don't know, I'm really upset over the whole thing.
Brian, could you and Phil maybe
Sure.
take a look at it?
Sure, I gladly will. But let's go back a little bit, and you're right, since Charlie Brown left, we've had about 5 blade operators in that territory. The gentleman that's in there now has just been there a few months. Just been working for the county just a few months. And so it takes really about 3 years to get experienced. And if you keep changing blade operators for any reasons, and you keep bringing new guys in, trying to train them, yeah, there's your nail. You hit some of the issues just right. Absolutely critical to have the crown. And we do send them to a school, and the blade operators all went to, all the new blade operators, several of the old ones didn't choose to, went to a class presented by Iowa State. Yeah, this was just a few weeks ago. And what you're saying is right. The other side of it is, and you nailed it too, always heavy trucks. You gotta have the crown. And here we're putting all these heavy trucks on the roads and they just keep beating the crown out all the time.
Plus that's what Paul's place.
Brown's still alive.
Yes,
Yes,
I
yes.
just talked with him last week.
You know what? Why don't you bring that guy in and tell him? Explain to these new operators in Buchanan County and forget Iowa State or whatever, how to grade a damn road.
Well, and the truth is, we've got some older operators around. Unfortunately, they don't tend to be in the west part of the county right now. They're in the east part of the county. But even when we start looking at that, now we're starting to get 3 to 5 years of old operators, generally speaking. We've gone through a lot of blade operators retiring. Yeah, and so but Phil's out there working with them. And yes, in particular, in the last rains, they made he tried pulling his windrow out and leveling it out, well, caught with the rains last week, and that made mud in numerous places.
Rolling this rock and running it from one side to the other side of the road doesn't work. Does not work. I seen him do it on our road there. They've done it 3 different ways now. It was the left side, and it was the right side, then it was back to the left side, now we're back on the right side again. All they're doing is pushing that rock from one side of the road to the other.
Yeah.
You go out there and look at it right now, it's rolled up on the right side of the road.
Is there well, the real question goes back to what there's there for crown, and he's still trying to build that crown back in. But if he leveled out that windrow you're referring to last week, which several did, that turned the roads to mud. But we can easily drive it.
Yeah.
They-
Yeah, sure. And then on Frost Avenue, that's exactly what happened. They got everything split, divided out, pushed out onto the middle of the road. And then it got so nasty that they just had to push it off to the side of the road because it was just a mess.
Just turned it to grease. Yeah.
Well, there was about 3 spots over there that people were having a real hard time driving. So that's why he's pushed it out this time.
All I can say is I've been out there a long time, and this is the worst this road's ever been. The worst. And I don't know, the mail lady, I mean, she's, when they windrowed it and put it on the north side of the road, every time she come to a mailbox, she had to drive through it. I don't know what the height's supposed to be on that stuff, but hell, her car she isn't driving a 4-wheel drive pickup, but she's driving a car. And she go over that, she drag bottom on it, and that doesn't help them either.
No, it doesn't.
So,
Yeah.
I think soon after that, he figured out that he had to include that, because he put a gap there for your driveway, and then after that, he figured out that he needed to include the mailboxes too, because he did hear the complaints from us.
Yeah, he's just been around a few months and he's learning that. But your point there too, it really takes 3 years to become a proficient blade operator. Yeah, we start looking at the number of blade operators we got out there today that haven't been around 3 years.
What is that percentage approximately? I mean, what is our
Percentage.
of, what's our experience?
I haven't really figured it out, but going through my mind right now. Joe Wheely's over at Jessup, or Hazelton now, but he used to be in Jessup. And yeah, we've been through a bunch of blade operators over there.
I can tell you this, I'm retired out of John Deere's, but I was a skilled tradesman at the time when I was there. And I was a tool grinder, and in order to get a master's degree, if you want to call it that degree is not attainable in any school. I don't care where it's at. And how you attain that is through working with another tool grinder, and it takes 8 years in the trade to learn that trade. And then as you learn it and as new things come along, you can invent with it. But that's how it's worked. And I don't know, the new guys coming on, not getting, I say, the proper training, or they got their own way of doing it, or new ways.
Even if you've been trained, just like you said, they're 8 years. What happens if you're grabbing one of those guys in 2-3 months and put him out there to do that work. He's not as proficient.
No,
And that's where we're really at here on the blade operators. And I can get the answer to your question later. But there's a lot of them that haven't been around that long. Even when you start looking at,
Yeah, I appreciate your comments.
Yeah.
It's not anything new.
no,
Brian and I were out there, last month?
yeah,
Driving
on
around.
250th Street.
And you went on a regular too.
Yeah, and that's where we're talking 160th Street today. And I've got 235th Street or 237th too.
And we'll look into it and see if it can get resolved. Hopefully we can make it better.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say this. It can't get any worse.
Well, don't offer that as a challenge.
your point about the crown is absolutely correct. And trying to keep that crown and build it back is where a big part of the challenges are.
You worry about the dust that's on the road right now. When they roll that rock from one side to the other, that rock is ground down so bad. That's where you get a lot of your dust from, because it's not really gravel anymore. I mean, you might think it's gravel.
No, there's a lot of ground up limestone in there, looking down limestone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? I just have one comment and the last week and a half, well, actually 2 weeks now, we've been working with the landfill commission in Buchanan County to approve the city of Independence to pull out of the transfer station agreement with Waste Management. And they're going to switch over the city garbage collection from Waste Management to Kleesner Sanitation. And the landfill commission voted to go ahead and approve them withdrawing from that. They will stay part of the landfill commission, but they will not be using the transfer station. And fortunately, all but one mayor and one county supervisor voted on it, no matter how many responding emails I sent out, that they failed to respond. And Keith, you were one of them.
Yeah.
I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, I would say that was an exact example of an electronic meeting, so.
And
Feel free to look into it.
you could look anymore. I sent you a text message and 3 emails and you failed to respond, which I'm really disappointed.
I think you should probably talk to Sean about that.
I'm gonna decline further comment. Brian?
Quick question, and that is, we approved the plans, but did we set a letting date for letting this building addition?
No, you did not.
No.
Is it
I mean,
too late to do that?
You can,
It was still an agenda item. I think we should go back.
you can go back and rescind your first motion and make the motion however you want.
Don, you have any qualms about that?
No, I don't.
I'll make the motion to set the letting.
Probably about the same as the June 23rd or 30th, like you did the,
30th, we're both on
Yeah.
the same agenda.
9:30?
they have to have the plans in by 9. Or their bids in by 9.
Can I get a second on that? Favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Any other further comment? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion. Second.
Right?
Aye.
Did you guys want to sign the plans? We gotta
We all
still,
need to, or does Scott need to?
And